to you. Sending you much love on this beautiful, beautiful Wednesday morning from Namibia. I hope Nomzamo, you know you are so loved here. Oh my gosh. And I remember seeing an audio of like actually visual clips of Umpumi, like at her wellness festival. And I was like, listen, if there's one thing I want to do one day is meet this woman and I'm going to save for the next festival. Hopefully she's going to be there.
I don't think she can bring me back, right? She's got to keep it fresh every year. I don't know.
I know, but maybe even as a guest, that will be amazing. But I wanted to ask you, being just a black woman that has achieved so much for yourself, what would you say is the one thing that just keeps you going and motivates you to just keep striving for more and more all the time?
I think for me, what keeps me going is just the idea of constantly pursuing the
Yeah.
higher or the greater or the next challenge for myself. Constantly staying motivated in just building a life that is full of I suppose the next goalpost. I'm not one who rests on their laurels or who feels like, oh, I have arrived and I've achieved so much and I'm fine. I'm always like, on to the next. What's next? Let's get to the next challenge. So constantly
Yes.
challenging myself and holding myself accountable to the dreams that I've always had as a young girl. And also just realizing that we have so far to go as a society. And
Mm,
I know that I've been put in a position where I'm able to do some things and be able to shift culture and shift the idea of who we are as a people. So when you know that you already have that responsibility, you just know there's a lot of work to be done. It's
there's
never
a
too,
lot of work.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to reminisce a little bit with you and take you a little bit back into time of when I actually fell in love with the brand Nomzamo and obviously ultimately with you. So I remember at the time you were going, just you had a lot of projects going on at the time, right? And I know that you were also pursuing your degree. And I remember the day, yes, I do. And I remember the post that you would always be making about how you're stressing, you've got exams and you need to be on set and all of that. And I remember the day that you actually posted that, damn, I finally got my degree. So I've been waiting for this moment for years to let you know that, girl, I followed your journey.
My God, that makes me feel so good right now. I'm getting
Yeah.
emotional. Thank you for reminding me about that. See,
Yeah, and
that's
I
the
remember.
I am. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, let's
Yes.
go. Thank
So
you.
what it is also is just how important you say that was for you and your family, like even the people who follow behind you, that she achieved that, so can I. So another question that I wanted to ask you is like there's a phrase that I've seen actually a couple of times in a couple of interviews that you've done as of late, where you say that excellence is a habit.
That's it.
So you should be on that vibration. So I am literally on it, and I was listening to it last night to the interview that I heard, and I was like, "This is amazing." But quickly tell us, this is with this movie, there's like just we grew up watching this movie Chaka Zulu, obviously, but and we've obviously seen it so many times. But what would you say is your earliest memory of the original movie itself, Shaka Zulu?
Oh my goodness. Well, the previous the version of the 1988 version, I think for me, I was a little girl and I
Okay.
remember seeing Queen Nandi and she was still a princess and she's in this forest and she's gathering water and I was like, whoa.
Wow.
And then we see Senzangakona and he's like, kekele keke. And I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God. So just seeing that, that incredible textured experience of just culture and language and the wooing of a woman and to see a woman who just Dudumkize kind of just held her own and with so much pride and so self-assured and you gazed into her eyes and you could not stop looking at that and that for me was the moment of falling in love and just knowing that one day if I am anything in life I have to play this character.
Wow. And you know what? Just even watching your body language right now is like, man, you literally stepped into that space. It's like something that you were called for. What would you actually say, just, in your career, for example, has prepared you to take on this role, embody it the best way that Nomzamo can, but also
Yes.
really make Nandi very proud?
Absolutely. I did so much research on this character. Um,
Yeah.
like not even this character because it's not a fictional thing, or she's not a fictional person. But I did so much research on Nandi, on her origins, on her family, on who she was to other people. Because sometimes, as performers, we always want to say, who was she as, herself, but who was she to other people, to the other maidens, around her, and how did they view her? Izibongo zakhe, when they write about her, how was she described? How did she walk? How did she talk? And she's described as loud. I mean, I'm very soft spoken. But she's described as someone who was
it.
so loud and who had a personality and who had a sassiness. And so I really wanted to do a lot of research on it. And, I had a help of so many historians and language coaches as well. Because, I didn't want to speak a certain Zulu, like the township Zulu. I wanted to speak 1700s, 1800s authentic language. So, just embodying her, she hasn't quite left me yet. And I think how I'm feeling right now as we're nearing the premiere and nearing
Yeah.
us, break out into the world is she's here. She's really sitting
She's
on me.
with you.
Yeah,
She's with
she's
you.
yeah.
Oh man. So if you had to probably tell us, on your own personal journey as well, how did you relate to the character? Is there something in the series itself that was like, oh my God, there's like an epiphany moment. This is me. This is how I deeply relate to Nandi. What would that be?
We both don't have middle ground when it comes to injustice. So
Hmm.
we feel strongly when it comes to injustice. We're both stubborn. We're both sassy, I think.
Yeah. No,
and
absolutely.
and and also standing up for something that we know is right. And I think for me, she was a feminist in her own right, in how she shifted the notion of what it meant to be a woman, and knowing that for a woman like herself, it's either she wanted to be liked or she wanted to be respected, and she chose the latter.
Come on, come on. And that really speaks volume, especially in a society where now more of our women we are finding our voices a little bit more, especially as Black women. So, I mean, I have so many questions. I wish I could have this conversation forever. But
Right.
if you had to tell to tell our fresh listeners right now what you would want every Black person, not to really say that obviously other tribes or other races, sorry, cannot watch this, but how important is it for us Black people to tell our stories ourselves?
It is so important because we are the custodians of who we are. We are the custodians of our cultures. We are the custodians of our history. We are the custodians of our way of life. Okay. So if we don't take the narrative, control the narrative, then unfortunately we find ourselves in a position of allowing another gaze
Come on.
to tell our stories their way from an objective point of view that doesn't even peel the surface of who we are.
Yeah.
So tell the stories in the best way that we can. And again, excellence is a habit. So what do I mean by saying do not be afraid to take time with the project so that you can perfect it. Take time with
Yeah.
this project so that you can put out an excellent production, and you can sit back and know that you have done yourself and your people.
Absolutely. So if Queen Nandi, since you're in character, I feel her spirit around you. If you had to tell the new generation that's going to see this movie, because man, you are the face of it. This is such a huge blessing, and I know that you know it, but I just wanted to reiterate that to you. What legacy would you want to leave behind with this role? Because
Oh,
this movie is going to be around for thousands and thousands of years, right?
oh, I know. Don Tandega always likes to say, your great grandchildren are going to see this. I'm like,
Come
oh,
on.
that's all the pressure.
Yes.
My advice to any young person would probably to say, continue to just chase, continue to pursue, continue to do that. Never think that the job is done, because there's so many stories, there's so many um, perspectives that we need to be able to put out into the world. And also, there's so many of us who are still left behind. So for
Yeah,
as long
very
as
true.
you are, for as long as you're granted the opportunity to be in spaces that you can be able to bring so many, and do that. I always say to corporate, I'm like, you hired the wrong person. You want me to be a brand ambassador? Because I come with men.
Yes.
I'm like, let's go. How do
Yes, the
we move
tribe has to succeed.
ought to be able to move forward, and our continent, especially young African people, our continent needs us. It is in our
Mhm.
hands. Let us fight for it. Let us be worthy custodians for the generations to come to look back and say, they fought a good fight and we will continue for as long as the baton moves forward. So pass the
Come on,
baton.
come on. Yeah, that is true. So maybe just on a personal level as well, when the name Nomzamo Mbatha comes up, because man, I was telling my host that I do the morning show with about you, and I mean he's in theater as well. But the way that I was just raving about it, and I'm like, so Nomzamo this, and I know her from this, and oh by the way, she's fine. So he's like, man, you should really meet this woman, and one day it will happen. But what would you say are the three things that represent your brand? I mean, there's the brand, yes, which is very important, but also you as a person. What are some of those things that just represent the person that you are at the core, if that makes sense? Because I talk too much.
Please, I talk too much. What are the three things that represent me at the core? Geez, uh, in terms of what I do, or in terms of who I am.
Yes, what you do and who you are, and then I can let you go and be free.
In terms of what I do, there's three things. I'm a humanitarian, I'm an
Yes,
actress, and I'm a businesswoman. Those are the three things
yes,
I do. In terms of the three things that I am a humanitarian. I care for humanity. Number two, I'm just a young girl from Wamash who's just trying to fight for her life. And number three, I'm a family orientated human. Those are the
yeah.
things that I am.
Okay, well, okay, all of them I know, but still, the last one resonates with me because I remember how you would always take your oh my God, I'm such an emotional baby. I remember how, and I always wanted to do this, one day for my family as well, where you just brought your family together and you guys would just go on a holiday together. And I'm like, she's so amazing. But I can really do this all day. But thank you so much for your time, Nomzamo. I know that you're very busy. Know that Namibia loves you. We see
I
your
love
craft
them.
and it's
Yeah, I love
as
them. I love Nam. I'm coming back to
right?
Nam.
Yes. And as a black woman, you have taken up space. You've done amazing. You've inspired so many people. Continue being, continue moving in love. Okay. Continue doing the best that you can. Excellence is definitely the habit. We are watching you. You inspire us. And all the best with the Premier Mommy. We are rooting for you. Okay.
Thank you. I do not take the good wishes for granted. Thank you. Thank you for being
Yeah.
so kind and also just reminding me of the journey. This was so
Yeah.
fabulous.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. And now you saw I was taking pictures of you. I'm going to put it on my Instagram to say that I had spoken to Nomzamo. Okay.